The world of professional wrestling has always been a realm where larger-than-life personalities, credible athleticism, and compelling stories converge. AEW WrestleDream, a significant pay-per-view event, was expected to showcase these elements at their best. Among the most highly anticipated matches was the brutal showdown between two of AEW's most captivating figures, Jon Moxley and Darby Allin. Both men had long been known for their willingness to embrace extreme measures in the ring, often stepping into the most dangerous matches that AEW could offer. With broken glass, bats, and blood on the line, fans had every reason to expect a spectacle that would deliver in both intensity and emotion. However, the match, which many believed would steal the show, left a lot to be desired. The build-up, personalities collide. In the weeks leading up to WrestleDream, the feud between Moxley and Allin had been brewing with all the necessary ingredients to create a memorable match. Moxley, AEW's embodiment of hardcore wrestling, had built a reputation for his willingness to sacrifice his body for the sake of the story. On the other hand, Darby Allin, AEW's daredevil, had shown time and again that he was willing to put himself in harm's way to prove he could hang with the best. The anticipation for this match was fueled by their shared love for chaotic, violent wrestling styles and their ability to leave everything in the ring. The two had crossed paths numerous times in AEW, their most personal moments being a result of Moxley's brutal, no-holds-barred style clashing with Allin's unrelenting determination. As the weeks passed, their feud reached a boiling point, and AEW's creative team set the stage for what was expected to be a career-defining match for both men. The promotion of this contest was a perfect storm, two of the most over wrestlers in AEW, engaged in a match that promised to be filled with violence, storytelling, and the type of drama that only AEW could deliver. The match. Expectations meet reality. The event finally arrived and fans packed the arena, their excitement palpable. The ring was set for an all-out war, with weapons strewn about and the crowd chanting in anticipation. The cameras flashed, capturing the intensity of the moment as both Moxley and Allin made their entrances. Moxley, as always, was intense and ready for battle, while Allin brought his usual chaotic energy to the match, which only served to elevate the tension. The commentators built up the match by hyping its brutal nature, knowing that the stakes were high for both competitors. As the bell rang, the chaos immediately began. Moxley grabbed a bat, and Allin responded by pulling out a shard of glass. What followed was a frantic back and forth, with both men using these weapons in an attempt to establish dominance. The broken glass, which was supposed to be a defining feature of the match, quickly became a symbol of the violence that AEW had promised, but the match didn't quite live up to the expectations that had been set. Despite the chaos, something was missing. There was a sense that the match was going through the motions rather than telling a coherent story. The use of bats and glass was certainly violent, but it felt like it lacked the deeper psychological elements that could have made the match truly special. The crowd, initially excited, seemed to lose some of their enthusiasm as the match went on. The lack of clear direction and the over-reliance on weapons led to a feeling of disconnect, as the violence overshadowed the storytelling. Analysis of the execution. What went wrong? At its core, professional wrestling is about telling a compelling story within the confines of a match. Wrestlers are expected to use their physicality to create emotional highs and lows, building toward a conclusion that is satisfying to the audience. In the case of Moxley versus Allin, however, the violence seemed to take precedence over the story. Instead of carefully built moments of drama, the match felt like a constant barrage of weapon-based spots that ultimately didn't allow the crowd to invest emotionally in the outcome. One of the primary issues was pacing. Hardcore matches, especially those involving weapons like bats and glass, often require careful pacing to maintain the audience's interest. Too much violence too quickly can desensitize the crowd, and this is exactly what happened in this case. The audience, expecting a thrilling and unpredictable match, was instead given a series of chaotic moments that didn't offer much in terms of emotional investment. Another issue was the lack of a clear narrative. For a hardcore match to work, there needs to be a story that connects the violence to the personalities of the wrestlers involved. Moxley and Allin both have strong, defined characters, but the match didn't do enough to highlight these traits. Moxley's willingness to embrace violence and Allin's resilience were lost in the fray, and as a result, the match felt more like a collection of violent moments than a cohesive story. Fan and analyst reactions. The mixed reception. As the dust settled, fans and analysts alike were left to digest the match. While some appreciated the brutality and physicality, many felt let down by the overall execution. Wrestling analysts took to social media and their platforms to express disappointment, pointing out that while the match was violent, it didn't hit the emotional beats that had made previous Moxley and Allin matches so compelling. Many fans, especially those who had been invested in the feud for weeks, were left scratching their heads. They had hoped for a more satisfying resolution to the rivalry, one that would leave a lasting impact on both wrestlers' careers. Instead, they were treated to a spectacle that, while violent, didn't offer the storytelling payoff they had come to expect from AEW's biggest matches. Wrestling fans are incredibly vocal, and when a match falls short of expectations, the reactions can be brutal. Social media was flooded with mixed reviews, with some fans praising the physicality of the match, while others were left feeling that AEW had missed an opportunity to make something truly memorable. The aftermath. What this means for AEW and the future of Moxley and Allin. The aftermath of the match raised important questions for AEW moving forward. While the company had a great track record of delivering big matches that were both violent and emotionally resonant, this bout highlighted a potential flaw in their approach to hardcore matches. The reliance on weapons and brutality, without a strong emotional or narrative foundation, could hurt the overall product in the long run. AEW has always prided itself on its in-ring storytelling, and this match stood as a reminder that no amount of violence can replace the need for a compelling story. For Moxley and Allin, this match represented a crossroads in their careers. Moxley, one of AEW's most trusted veterans, had built a reputation on brutal matches that told stories of survival and determination. Allin, on the other hand, had long been one of AEW's most popular stars, known for his daring stunts and high-risk wrestling style. But for both men, this match may have shown that their paths to success will require more than just violence. They will need to continue to evolve as storytellers inside the ring. Conclusion: wrestling is more than just violence. At the end of the day, AEW's WrestleDream event was a reminder that wrestling is more than just about blood, broken glass, and bats. While fans will always be drawn to the brutality and intensity of hardcore matches, it's the stories behind the violence that make them truly memorable. Moxley and Allin are undoubtedly two of AEW's most talented and charismatic stars, and their match at WrestleDream proved that while they can deliver physicality in spades, they need to continue to refine their storytelling in order to make every match count. WrestleDream may not have lived up to the lofty expectations set for Moxley versus Allin, but it will surely serve as a lesson for AEW moving forward. Brutality alone is not enough to create a lasting legacy.